My girlfriend had a male bestie. They shared everything, went out for drinks, saw movies together. Under the banner of not interfering with her freedom to have friends, she never let me question it. Until I found out that when she was out shopping for lingerie, she sent him photos, asking him to help pick out the style. I told her we were done. Her response was the same as always. He's just my bestie. If something was going to happen between us, it would have happened already. Can you stop being so petty? When you get home tonight, I'll even model the new lace one for you, okay? She thought I was the same old pushover. She sent another text. I'm craving those strawberry cupcakes from that place in Lincoln Park. Go get me some. I deleted the chat, then messaged my manager. I accepted the overseas assignment I had previously turned down, but was still technically on the table. I agreed to the long-term transfer to Japan. 1. Why aren't you answering? Did you see my text? Can you stop with the drama? Whining and insecure like this. You keep this up, and I'm going to get really angry. 2 hours later, another message came from my girlfriend, Ashley. She was the one in the wrong, but she was flipping it around to yell at me. I still didn't reply. There was a mountain of paperwork and handoffs to prepare for the transfer. Ashley sent a single question mark. Question mark. Are you serious right now? Ethan, you're going to regret this. A little while later, her Instagram story updated. It was a picture of her at dinner with someone. The person sitting across from her was, of course, her male bestie, Landon. The caption read, "Friendship lasts longer than love." A bunch of her mutual friends commented below it. What's going on? Ashley replied, "He's being weird for no reason." Someone else chimed in, "He's just scared of losing you." It was a gut punch, but this was about a fundamental boundary. I had to make a clean break. I put my phone away and walked through the door held open by the hostess. The restaurant where I was meeting my colleague was the exact same place Ashley was posting from. I wasn't there to find her. The colleague who was originally supposed to take the overseas assignment was treating me to dinner as a thank you. His wife just found out she was pregnant, so not having to leave the country was a huge relief for him. Heard this new bistro is supposed to be amazing, my colleague said with a smile. I nodded, deliberately avoiding the window seat where a man and a woman were sitting. Looks great. Let's grab a table here. We ended up at a table diagonal from Ashley's. I was facing her direction, so she was in my direct line of sight if I looked up. Even though I made a point not to stare, I could see her glance over at me constantly out of the corner of my eye. She started putting on a show, reaching across the table to put food on Landon's plate. Twice. She held her chin high, like a proud swan. When she laughed at something he said, she made sure it was loud and dramatic, practically doubling over. It was so loud that even my colleague turned to look. Hey, isn't that your girlfriend? He asked, curious. The one on your phone's lock screen. I unlocked my phone and showed him the blank screen. Not anymore. Ashley probably thought I had come here looking for her, trying to make me jealous on purpose. But when she realized I wasn't giving her a single glance, completely engrossed in my conversation, it must have dawned on her that my being here was just a coincidence. My phone screen lit up. A text from Ashley. Come outside for a second. My colleague happened to get up to use the restroom, so I left the restaurant and found Ashley waiting for me in the small garden area out front. She was wearing a new dress I'd never seen, a form-fitting pink top with a plunging neckline and a tight white skirt that hugged her curves. Paired with heels, her fair skin and long legs were drawing stares from men walking by. She lifted her chin proudly, brimming with confidence. She glanced back at the restaurant entrance, her arms crossed, as if she was absolutely certain I wouldn't be able to let her go. From college to our careers, we had been together for 5 years. Over time, she had grown increasingly entitled. She bossed me around, and after every argument, she'd wait for me to come crawling back. The moment she was unhappy about something, she'd threaten to break up. This time, I was the one who ended it. Not only did she not take it seriously, but she also turned it around on me, calling my reaction a drama. Seeing me come out, the flicker of panic she might have felt was instantly extinguished. She looked me up and down, her expression haughty. What are you doing here? See, there's nothing going on with Landon and me. Are you satisfied now? Stop this, Ethan. Even if we're dating, I'm still allowed to have other friends. I stopped about 6 feet away from her, making no move to get closer. You can have any friends you want. It has nothing to do with me anymore. Her arrogant posture faltered. She stared at me in disbelief. Ethan, are you serious? I nodded. without a shred of hesitation. Ashley dropped her arms and took 2 steps toward me. I have never done anything to cheat on you. Can you please stop being so insecure? I used to think she was beautiful. Now, all I saw was a woman with no sense of boundaries and zero empathy. No amount of beauty could make up for that. Seeing my resolve, her expression soured into anger. Even her words, meant as an explanation, were dripping with resentment. Landon and I are just friends. Do you really have to make a federal case out of it? Just friends, I asked, genuinely confused. Do just friends send each other pictures of themselves in lingerie to ask for opinions? Her voice shot up as she scrambled for a defense. That's because you have no taste. I think Landon has a better eye for this stuff. Couldn't you have asked a girlfriend for help? A girl's opinion isn't the same as a guy's. She kept rattling off justifications, her eyes growing more and more impatient with me. 3. I'd never seen her look at Landon with that kind of contempt. Ever since she met him, she had been looking at me like that more and more often. Inutisa. I just followed her lead and my own habit and blamed myself every time. I thought it was my fault, that I was the one doing something wrong. She had a bulletproof reason for showing him her underwear choices, and she'd repeated it so often she'd convinced herself it was true. Her face was a mask of annoyance, as if she couldn't be bothered to talk to me anymore. The last sliver of hope in my heart turned to ice. I clenched my jaw until I tasted blood, forcing myself to stay rational. I had to break the cycle of always backing down, of always being the one to accommodate. I had to rip the whole ugly thing open. And in doing so, I had to admit how blind I'd been. You always have an excuse. So tell me this. Back in April, why did you wear the new dress I bought you to go see a movie with him? Why do you text him good morning and good night every single day? Why do you get so close in pictures with him, letting him put his arm around your shoulder? Why haven't you posted a picture of me on your feed in months, but the photo of you and him is pinned to the top of your profile? Before I could even finish, Ashley cut me off sharply. Are you insane? I already explained all of that. Are you really going to dredge up the past? Are you even a man? Seeing my face, expressionless and dead inside, I turned to leave. That's when she panicked, rushing forward to grab my arm. Can we please just stop this? We've been together for 5 years. Don't you trust me? Landon is just a friend I click with. Don't be mad anymore. Let's just pretend this never happened. If you keep pushing this, I'm going to get really, really mad. The kind of mad you can't fix. For as we stood there at a standoff, a tall figure emerged from the restaurant, a gentle smile on his face. The moment he saw us, his expression shifted perfectly into one of apology and awkwardness. Sorry, I was just getting worried when Ashley didn't come back for a while. Am I interrupting something? The second she saw Landon, the frantic energy around Ashley dissipated. She let go of my arm and drifted toward him. Landon, you're just in time. When she spoke to him, her voice softened unconsciously, taking on a playful, delicate tone. It was a sweet, lilting sound, a world away from how she spoke to me. What's wrong? Is there some kind of misunderstanding? Landon asked with a placid smile, his handsome face a picture of calm sophistication. A stark contrast to me in that moment. He took a few steps forward. You must be Ethan, right? Ashley talks about you all the time. Whatever it is, you guys should talk it out. She's a wonderful girl. You should cherish her. Whether it was intentional or not, he positioned himself between Ashley and me, physically shielding her. His arrival was all it took for Ashley's feigned attempt at reconciliation to evaporate. It was replaced by a look of wounded frustration, as if I were the one who had wronged her, who had bullied her. Her voice dripped with disgust. Ethan, when are you going to accept that men and women can have a purely platonic friendship? Landon gently patted her on the shoulder. She was beautiful and captivating. He was handsome and gentle. Standing together, they looked like a perfect match made for each other. It was sickening. Landon turned back to me in the role of the mediator. Hey man, I think there's been a misunderstanding here. We really are just friends. If there's something I did that made you uncomfortable, I can change. But you shouldn't take it out on her. Ashley shot me a look of pure victimhood, as if I truly was the one blowing things out of proportion. She grabbed Landon's arm. You don't have to say anything to him. When you want to accuse someone, you'll find a reason no matter what. And there it was, blaming the victim. My heart went completely cold. Landon jumped in to support her. You can't look at it that way. In any relationship, the man has to be the one to give a little more for it to last. Guys are just supposed to be more patient with girls. I'm sure if I just talk to him, he'll understand. I let out a cold, bitter laugh. How disgusting. You both know exactly what you've said and what you've done. Flirting openly under the guise of friendship. Using the male bestie title to be the other guy without any of the responsibility. You're pathetic. Who are you even trying to fool with this act? Don't tell me you've actually started to believe your own lies. My words landed like a slap across their faces. Ashley exploded like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. She screamed at me, "Ethan, I was so wrong about you. I thought I found a good man, and this is how you treat me." I yelled back, "And how have you been treating me? Sharing a boba tea with another man, playing video games together, calling each other babe? With me, it's one-word answers. With him, it's nonstop attention. That's enough." Ashley lunged at me, shoving me with both hands. Her eyes were red, overflowing with a sense of profound injustice. "He is just my best friend. What's wrong with being a little close with your best friend? Besides that, have I ever cheated on you? I never knew you were such a petty, malicious person. You're the one with the sick mind." Landon pulled her away, soothing her gently. "Don't be angry. It's not good for you. Just calm down." He led her away, right in front of me. As they walked off, he glanced back over his shoulder. "Take it easy, man," he said to me. "Don't do anything to provoke her. I can't stand to see her so upset." He gave me a slight smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. It was the smug, triumphant smirk of a winner. I stood there for a long time, my heart feeling like it had been pierced by 1,000 needles. I was so angry, I almost forgot to be sad. When I got back to the table, they were gone. I apologized to my colleague, pushed my feelings down, and went back to talking about work. The toxic chapter was over. Life had to go on. It wasn't until I finished for the night, got back to my apartment, and closed the door behind me that I finally collapsed. I slid to the floor, feeling like a condemned building finally giving way. I thought I'd feel relieved. Instead, it felt like I'd swallowed a swarm of flies. I couldn't just brush it off. 5 years of my all, a marathon of a relationship. I thought we were soulmates, that our bond was unbreakable. And it was all undone by a guy she'd known for 4 months. Being home was torture. Every corner of the apartment held a trace of Ashley, and the memories were unavoidable. The keychain by the door was a souvenir she brought back from a trip last year. The little dog-shaped pillow on the sofa was something she won at a carnival 2 years ago. The mouse on my desk was a gift from her 5 years ago. Ashley and I met in college. In our circle of friends, everyone knew the story. I was the student government president. She was the head of the volunteer committee. We worked together, spent a lot of time with each other, and feelings developed. I was the one who asked her out, showing up with flowers and a necklace. She was gorgeous, fair skin, perfect features, and a radiant smile when she wore her hair in a ponytail. When we got together, everyone was jealous of me. I might not have been a model, but my family was well off, I was a dedicated student, and I was capable. After we started dating, I gave Ashley everything she wanted. I doted on her. My guy friends envied me. Her girlfriends envied her. In college, she'd study with me in the library, cheer for me in my basketball games. In the evenings, we'd walk hand in hand across the campus green. She introduced me to every single one of her friends. I used my allowance and scholarship money to buy her skincare products and handbags that other girls couldn't afford. She kept every box. Each time, she would meticulously stage a photo and post it on Instagram for the world to see. We went from naive students to young professionals. As I started earning more, I made it a point to spend it on her, to improve her life. Her family lived far away, so I rented an apartment for her near her office. They say loving someone is like tending a garden. I had nurtured her from a sweet, simple daisy into a stunning, vibrant rose. But now, aside from hitting me up for money to buy this, or that every few days, she barely spoke to me. The only time she showed any warmth was when she was asking for something. The thought sent a sharp pain through my chest. Her excuse was always that she was too busy, too tired, and that I was too much of a clueless guy to understand. But her text thread with Landon was a constant stream of jokes and laughter. She said she clicked with him, that I was bad at conversation. But we used to talk all night. We used to stay up on the phone for hours. With trembling hands, I resolved to cut ties completely with this failed relationship. I grabbed a trash bag and started collecting everything that reminded me of Ashley, one item at a time. First, I unplugged the mouse from my computer. When she bought me this, her monthly allowance was maybe a few $100s. The mouse cost almost $1,000. To save up for my birthday gift, she ate nothing but cafeteria rice and vegetables for a month. When she was really craving something, she'd treat herself to a single dollar store meat bun. She lost 10 pounds. When I found out, I was so moved I could have cried. I immediately transferred her all the money I had saved, leaving myself with just $30 for food. It was from that moment on that I swore I would give her the world, that I would cherish her. For every good thing she did for me, I would repay her tenfold. That's why I was never stingy with her. I worked hard to make sure she had everything anyone else had. I opened the top drawer of my desk. Inside, a champagne-colored box with a high-end sheen sat quietly. I let out a self-deprecating laugh. I opened it. Inside was a 1-carat diamond ring. I had bought it 2 months ago. My plan was to surprise her on our 6th anniversary next month and ask her to marry me. But now this ring was a joke, a monument to my own wishful thinking. I had foolishly believed our 5 years of shared history meant something precious, only to find out it couldn't compete with the novelty of a 4-month acquaintance. Landon was her co-worker. The day he started, Ashley told me her boss had assigned her to train a new guy. She said all the single women in the office were buzzing when he walked in. I joked, "And what about you?" She hugged me and said, "Nobody could ever compare to the best boyfriend in the entire world." But slowly, she started bringing him up more and more. A project they worked on together got praised by the director. She was having a rough period, and Landon stayed late to help her finish her work. She started smiling to herself while looking at her phone. Then, just as gradually, she stopped mentioning him to me at all. She'd always turn her phone away from me. When I'd occasionally ask about her male colleague, she'd dismiss it, saying they were just good friends. "We just get along really well. He's like my male bestie." When I found out they went to a movie together, she lied and said other colleagues were there too. Don't overthink it. Other people came with us. Landon is just my bestie. We just saw a movie. You have to let me have my own life. I can't just revolve around you all the time. I have my own job and my own friends. At the time, I thought she had a point. I believed her repeated reassurances. Our first big fight over Landon was on our 5th anniversary. She said she had to work late and canceled our dinner plans. But at 10 o'clock that night, she posted a picture from the office. It was her and Landon, each holding a boba tea. The caption was better to level up than celebrate anniversaries. Landon had drawn a little pig on her cup, and she made sure it was in perfect focus. Meanwhile, the $5,000 I had transferred to her account got nothing more than a thanks and was never mentioned again. A $5 boba tea meant more to her than $5,000? When I tried to tell her how hurt I was, she got defensive. "I'm working hard on my career. Do you want me to just sit around and wait for you all day?" Landon is right. It's better to be independent than to rely on someone else. You and I just don't have anything to talk about anymore. That argument ended badly. She refused to back down and didn't message me for days. In the end, it was me who broke the silence, buying her a new designer bag to smooth things over. After that, she got even worse. Time with me was boring and pointless. Time with her bestie was being an independent, modern woman. Every time I brought up my discomfort with Landon, she would tell me impatiently, "He's just my bestie. If something was going to happen, it would have already. Can you please give me some space and stop being so controlling?" If I didn't accept that, she'd get angry and give me the silent treatment. Back then, I thought that if I just proposed if we got married, things would get better. She would feel secure and wouldn't need to pour all her energy into her job. I kept the ring a secret, planning the ultimate surprise, until I saw her sending pictures of herself in lingerie to her male bestie, asking him to pick one out. She said, "We didn't cross any lines. Why is your mind so dirty?" Right? No lines crossed. I threw the mouse into the trash bag, then the diamond ring. Even though it cost me over $10,000, its association with her made it feel tainted. My feelings had been polluted, smeared with filth. Watching the symbol of my love land among the garbage, my heart felt like it had been carved out, but it also felt like a tumor had been removed. There was a deep sense of loss, but also, finally, a sense of relief. Those 5 beautiful years were nothing but a prelude to a bitter end. I never thought something so ugly would happen to me, but I couldn't let it make me hate myself. I had given everything to this relationship. I had nothing to be ashamed of. I wasn't the one who failed. She was for throwing away something so genuine. And that scumbag Landon. They could hide behind the bestie label to fool themselves, but I'm a man. I know exactly what's going on. A guy who uses friendship as a cover to wedge himself into someone else's relationship is not a good person. If she chose him over me, she was in for a world of hurt. All I had to do was wait and watch her regret it. 9. I opened my phone. Ashley had posted on Instagram again. It was a picture of two shadows cast by a streetlight. The shadows were walking side by side, so close their shoulders were touching, intimate like a couple. The caption, "The people who are nice to you when you're on top don't count. The ones who stick by you when you're at your lowest are the only ones who are real." The comment section was full of our mutual friends, men and women, mostly offering their congratulations. So true. Some people's kindness is just for show. You guys finally broke up? Congrats, you deserve so much better. Honestly, I never thought you two were a good match. Even though I had already decided to cut her out of my life, seeing those comments still stung. My hand trembled as I tapped on Ashley's profile, then the 3 dots in the corner. After a long hesitation, I finally hit block. I thought it would hurt more, but the second I did it, it was as if a dark, oppressive cloud had lifted. My mind felt clear. Being cheated on isn't the scary part, I thought. Being dumped isn't the scary part. The scariest thing is knowing you're standing at the edge of a cliff and not being able to walk away. I put my phone down and cleaned the entire apartment, throwing away every last thing that belonged to Ashley. Then I started packing for my trip. This assignment in Japan was a long-term relocation. It could last for years. I was so consumed with preparing for the move that I completely forgot about one crucial arrangement. It wasn't until my mom called me 3 days later that I remembered. As part of my plan to propose to Ashley, I had arranged for our parents to meet for the first time. The idea was to get their blessing, discuss the engagement, and make it official. Her parents lived out of state, so we had set the date weeks in advance, today at a nice downtown restaurant. And they had already arrived. Even though Ashley and I were over, we had been together for 5 years. I'd met her parents before. I figured the least I could do was treat the two of them to a nice meal as a thank you for their kindness over the years. I had no idea. I arrived at the private room, greeted her parents, and had just ordered our food when the door slid open. Ashley walked in. She looked embarrassed and avoided my gaze, the usual impatience gone. Then, with her head down, she walked over and sat next to her parents. Her father smiled at me warmly. "Ethan, Ashley happened to call us on our way here. I figured something this important should be discussed all together, so I told her to come along. You don't mind, do you?" Ashley lowered her head even further. Her mother added, "You two have been together for so long. I've seen it all. Ethan, you're a responsible young man, and I know you'll take good care of our Ashley. Since you're the one who called this meeting, you must have everything figured out. Go on, tell us your plans. We're just here to make it official." It was clear they had no idea we'd broken up. They knew my family was comfortable and that I adored Ashley, so they were certain I wouldn't let her down. They both looked at me with eager eyes. Ashley glanced up at me too, a flicker of nervous hope in her eyes. She must have realized I'd blocked her and that this time I was serious. In 5 years, I had never once blocked or deleted her. I'd never gone more than a day without messaging her. At that thought, my chest tightened and it felt hard to breathe. Her parents were looking at me. My dad nudged me. "What are you daydreaming for? You got this planned out. Go on, spit out." They all knew how serious I was about marrying Ashley, but now I had to let them all down. I stood up. "Mr. and Mrs. Miller, we don't need to discuss anything. I was planning on putting a significant down payment on a house for us, but that plan is canceled. We've broken up. Ashley has found someone else." The table erupted in chaos. Ashley's parents were in disbelief, pleading with me. "What happened? Don't be rash. You two have always been so good together." Her mother slapped Ashley's arm. "You silly girl. Why aren't you saying anything? Explain yourself. There must be a misunderstanding. Clear it up with Ethan right now." In front of her parents, Ashley didn't dare act out. Her face flushed and her voice trembled. "No, he's mistaken. I just have a male colleague I'm close with, that's all." The smile vanished from her father's face. He glared at her. "What are you doing getting mixed up with people like that and causing misunderstandings with Ethan? You'd better explain yourself properly. Her parents adored me. They weren't about to let some unknown guy replace me and ruin their daughter's future. Ashley deflated like a popped balloon, her pretty face clouded over. It's not like that, she said, her voice barely a whisper. It's all a misunderstanding. We had a fight, and Ethan's just upset right now. She stood up and slowly made her way over to me. Ethan, let's talk about this properly. Don't be mad. Can we talk outside? She was writing off my deliberate, painful decision as a childish tantrum. I let out a cold laugh. Out of respect for our parents, I agreed to step outside with her. Mom, Dad, Mr. and Mrs. Miller, please go ahead and eat. The food here is excellent. Her parents immediately switched back to their smiling faces when they looked at me. Of course. You two kids go sort things out. You're about to get married. You can't let little misunderstandings get in the way. 11. The moment we were out of the private room, Ashley's demeanor changed. She shot me a resentful glare. Then, perhaps remembering the life I had offered, her expression softened. She grabbed my sleeve, took a deep breath, and lowered her voice. Are you really determined to break up with me? I only posted those things to make you mad. Why did you have to end things without even talking to me? Her logic was so twisted I had to laugh. To make me mad? What exactly did I do that was so terrible you had to recruit a male bestie to torture me? My words were harsh. The color drained from her face, then flooded back in a wave of red. Being called out so plainly stripped all the beauty from her features. It was nothing until you started being so petty and accusing me of things. That's what made me want to get back at you. So once again, this is all my fault? Because I was petty, you had to share a boba tea with Landon to piss me off? You had to go to dinner with him and post those captions to piss me off? You had to belittle everything I've ever done for you and build him up? All it took was a few sweet nothings from Landon, and you were willing to stoop this low just to get a reaction out of me. Well, congratulations. It worked. You pissed me off so much that I'm gone. After saying my piece, I turned and walked away, not caring what else she had to say. Ashley stood behind me, her fists clenched, and called my name. Ethan. I didn't look back. Her anger melted into disbelief, her expression horrified. Then her face went pale. This time, she was truly panicking. I sent a text to my parents, telling them to be gracious hosts one last time, and then to make it clear to the Millers that we were going our separate ways, and there should be no more contact. I told them I was leaving for Japan. Once they heard about the transfer, they stopped trying to patch things up. I don't know what happened to Ashley when she got home, but judging by her parents' reaction, it couldn't have been pleasant. But we were broken up now. Even if they grounded her for life, it had nothing to do with me. I was busy with shopping and getting my visa, and I pushed the whole mess to the back of my mind. I didn't just erase Ashley's presence from my apartment. I wiped her from my digital life as well. I blocked her on everything, deleted her from my contacts. Every photo, every video gone. I was at the mall buying some things I need for the long-term assignment when an unsaved number called me. Hello. I assumed it was a delivery or a spam call, but the voice on the other end was choked with tears. After a long pause, a familiar voice came through. Ethan, do you really have to be so cruel? It was Ashley. Even though she was the one calling me, her first words were still an accusation. I felt nothing. It's not me being cruel, Ashley. You're the one who pushed our relationship to this point. Her tone became urgent, slightly softer. It's really not what you think. My parents have been yelling at me nonstop for the past 2 days. They're threatening to disown me. Can you really stand to see me suffer like this? Just as I was about to respond, a sales associate's voice cut in from my side. Sir, how do you like this one? Hearing a woman's voice, Ashley immediately tensed up. Who are you with? She demanded. I'm out shopping. That's the sales clerk, I said flatly. Ashley audibly relaxed. The anger and resentment from before vanished inexplicably. I knew it. I knew you still had feelings for me. You wouldn't find someone new this quickly. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up, I said coldly, and then I blocked her number. That night, a buddy of mine sent me a screenshot of Ashley's Instagram story. It was a photo of her, eyes red and puffy, leaning on Landon's shoulder. The caption, some people show their true colors. Glad to be free of that toxicity. The comments were all from her friends, trashing me. Cherish your life. Stay away from toxic men. Congrats on escaping, Ashley. But a little while later, some of those same girlfriends who had been cheering her on in the comments started sliding into my DMs. Heard you, and Ashley broke up? Don't be sad. She didn't know how to appreciate you. So, what do you think of me? I just laughed and didn't reply. I wondered what Ashley would think if she knew her supportive friends were already making a move on me. While Ashley was busy with her new romance, I got my passport stamped and finalized all my preparations for the move to Japan. To sweeten the deal of sending me overseas, my company gave me a 30% raise. The partner company in Japan was also paying part of my salary. All told, my income had effectively doubled. Now, I was earning far more than most people my age. Before I left, I had a farewell dinner with some friends. Most of them were from college, and they knew about the breakup, and that Ashley was now with Landon. The ones who didn't know the full story got the timeline wrong and tried to comfort me. We know you loved her, man, but you don't have to flee the country just because you got dumped. Then again, maybe it's for the best. On to the next one. If you're really not over it, we can keep an eye on her for you. And hey, an assignment in Japan is awesome. You make a ton of money. You'll be able to get any girl you want after this. I was already over it and didn't feel sad anymore, but I'd had a few drinks and didn't have the energy to correct them. Besides, they weren't entirely wrong. I was leaving the country because of the breakup, just not to escape the pain, but to start something new. Work in Japan was less stressful than I had imagined. The projects were high-level and specialized, but there was less pressure than back home. More pay for fewer headaches. I adapted quickly. The company rented an apartment for me. My next-door neighbor was a freelance manga artist. I only found this out when she knocked on my door one evening after power went out. The source of the delicious smells that often drifted from next door, it turned out, was an incredibly sweet and pretty girl named Ayano Kobayashi. I helped her fix the circuit breaker, and she tried to pay me for my trouble. I suggested that a batch of her homemade cookies would be payment enough. After that, we started seeing more of each other. Ayano would often bring me samples of whatever delicious food she was making. On days when we weren't busy, we'd watch movies or I'd read her latest manga pages. She was fascinated by my being from America, and we had endless conversations about history, culture, movies, and food. I started to notice a change in the way Ayano looked at me. Her gaze was often filled with a kind of fascinated admiration. Meanwhile, my friends back home would occasionally send me screenshots or updates. Apparently, after getting together with Landon, Ashley's social media presence had gone quiet. Word was that Landon was broke and cheap. He was living in the apartment I used to pay for, wasn't contributing to rent, and was letting Ashley cover all their expenses. In the 3 months they'd been together, there had been no celebratory posts for anniversaries or her birthday, none of the gifts or grand gestures she used to show off when she was with me. Hearing this, I just smiled. I had pegged Landon for a user from the start. Ashley had dismissed my financial and emotional support as nothing special, choosing Landon's sweet talk as a soul connection instead. I figured she could live on that soul connection now and tolerate his lack of everything else. I gave her my time and money, and it wasn't enough because I didn't understand her. Well, now she had Landon to understand her. It was on her birthday that Ashley finally broke. She had been dropping hints to Landon for a week that she wanted an ice cream cake. On the day, Landon showed up with a cheap, day-old sheet cake from the grocery store, claiming he couldn't find a place that took reservations. Furious, she stormed out of the apartment. She assumed Landon would come running after her, begging for forgiveness. But she stood downstairs in the cold night air for half an hour, shivering. Not only did he not appear, but her phone remained silent. Not a single text asking if she was okay. Suddenly, a wave of regret washed over her. She thought back to the man who wasn't great with poetic words, but was always there when she needed him most, always checking in on her. She used to take it all for granted, like the way her parents cared for her. It was just something she was entitled to. She remembered a time, long ago, when she had been genuinely moved by Ethan's devotion, when she had treasured it. But 5 years was a long time. Too long. Slowly, she had gotten used to it. His strengths became mundane, and she started focusing only on his flaws. It took losing it all to remember how precious it had been. A sharp pain seized Ashley's heart. She looked at her phone, scrolling through her chat with Landon. She saw his message from that morning, a sincere-sounding apology for not pre-ordering the cake. She decided to forgive him. She couldn't admit, not yet, that her choice had been a mistake. She couldn't handle the humiliation. She trudged miserably back upstairs, back to the apartment Ethan used to rent for her. As she approached the door, she heard Landon's voice from inside, speaking on the phone in a gentle, caring tone. Of course I'll help you. It's my pleasure. You're new here. It's the least I can do. Ashley crept closer, pressing her ear to the door. She recognized the voice on the other end of the call, a new female colleague from their office. Landon, you're so sweet. Let me buy you dinner to thank you. If you have a girlfriend, you can bring her along. Landon's voice was smooth as silk. What are you talking about? I'm single. What about you and Ashley? You two seem so close. She just got out of a bad breakup. As her friend, of course I'm going to be there to support her. Outside the door, Ashley's face went white. Landon had told her they should keep their relationship a secret for a while, claiming it would be bad for her reputation at the office. She thought he was being considerate. She never imagined he was just maintaining his single status for everyone else. Her heart plunged into an icy abyss. Any hope she had for Landon was completely shattered. Her hands trembled, and she could barely breathe. She messaged one of Ethan's friends, asking how he was doing. That's when she learned he'd left the country. You didn't know? He was so heartbroken over you that he took a long-term assignment in Japan. Because of her, he went to Japan because of her. Ashley didn't know the breakup had hit Ethan that hard. He had always been so devoted to her. His talk of breaking up must have just been a bluff, an act of pride. In her frozen heart, a tiny flame of hope flickered back to life. 16. 3 months in Japan, and my life and work had settled into a comfortable rhythm. Ayano was a truly gentle soul. On Valentine's Day, she cooked an incredible dinner for me at her place. After a little sake, she blushed and confessed her feelings. Ethan, I really like you. I like your kindness, your intelligence. I love how gentle and considerate you are. Will you be my boyfriend? After the breakup with Ashley, I hadn't planned on getting into another relationship, but meeting Ayano felt like a wonderful twist of fate. Compared to my quiet care, her warmth and attention were overt and constant. I had left my painful past behind. A new place, a new person, a new relationship. It was time for my life to be whole again. I said yes. Soon after, we moved in together. She worked on her manga from home, cooking and taking care of our apartment. No matter what time I got home from work, I was always greeted by a hot cup of tea, a home-cooked meal, and often some fresh-baked cookies or pastries. One evening, we were in the living room playing a co-op game when there was a knock on the door. I opened it and froze. It was Ashley. She stood there clutching her arms, her eyes red. After a moment's hesitation, she threw her arms around me. I'm sorry, I was being selfish. I know you're not over me. I got your address from a friend and came to find you. Surprise. Can we please get back together? I pushed her away, my voice cold. I have a new life now. What we had is in the past. Ashley's face was a mask of disbelief. Don't lie to me. I know you still love me. You were just disappointed that I chose someone else. Let's start over, please. I swear I'll cherish you this time. I'll love you properly. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had no idea how she could have come to such a delusional conclusion. You're mistaken. Please don't come here again. Hearing the voices at the door, Ayano came out from the kitchen, wearing an apron and holding a spatula. Ethan, who is it? She asked in Japanese. Seeing the sweet, lovely Ayano, the desperate pleading on Ashley's face curdled into panicked disbelief. She started shaking her head, backing away slowly. No, it's not possible. You couldn't have found someone else this fast. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. She couldn't understand what Ayano was saying, but she saw the disgust on my face as I pushed her away and went to Ayano's side. I wrapped my arm around Ayano's waist and kissed her forehead. Then, in English, I said, It's no one important. Don't worry about it. Ashley's face flushed with shame, but she kept trying. You have no idea how hard it was for me to find you. I thought about us the entire way here. 5 years, Ethan. 5 whole years. How can you just let that go? You were going to propose to me, remember? I can see it. She looks a little like me. You're not over me, are you? Stop pretending. I came all this way for you. I really want us to work. Seeing she was lost in her own fantasy, I walked to the door and prepared to shut it for good. Before I did, I said one last thing to her. I'm not an object you can just throw away when you're tired of it, and pick back up when you feel like it. The only reason you're here now is because you got played by a loser. You realized he was all flash and no substance. Go home, Ashley. I found someone I truly love, and she loves me back. I won't let her be hurt by this. Then, without another moment of hesitation, I closed the door. A gut-wrenching sob erupted from the hallway. Ashley cried until she collapsed. But my heart no longer felt a thing. I took Ayano's hand and led her back to the kitchen to finish cooking with her. The sound of chopping vegetables, the sizzle of an egg frying in the pan, and Ayano's sweet voice speaking softly to me. That was all that mattered now.